Aninews is back with another Lord of Mysteries video. I'm so glad he's back, so please, the video link is down below. Go show him some love and let's check out Klein's sequence abilities explained, sequence animate. So let's jump into it. 16 minutes, it's gonna be a treat.
Klein's powers are fairly unique. He's not particularly overpowered, but the
For now.
Beyonder system paves a path for him or pretty much anyone else to become overpowered. That said, the starting point for any Beyonder can be fairly weak, and that's especially true for Klein and his choice of the Seer path. It places him in much more of a support role, while his advancement to Clown makes him far more suitable for combat. Both provide their own unique abilities, yet when combined together they create the new and improved Klein we see in episode 10 and onward. It's in between though that we were shown so many different types of divination that I imagine it was hard to keep up with everything Klein was doing.
Yeah, true.
So, in order to understand how exactly Klein's powers work, we first need to start at the top, then work our way downward. That means understanding what it is a Seer is capable of, moving down to the next sequence of Clown, then looking at what being at those levels does for him. His Grey Fog is a separate power all on its own, so that'll have to be analyzed apart from the abilities granted by the sequence potions. Now, with all that said, I suppose the first place to start then is the intuitive mastery over the abilities granted by the Seer potion.
Yeah.
What I mean is that becoming a Seer doesn't immediately allow you to grasp its powers instantly. No, it instead gives you an innate proficiency with them. Their inherent traits like increased memory and enhanced spirituality makes it easy for the Seer to
These are like passives, by the way. You don't have to do anything. Like, these are just passively in the background. Just bonuses. Just like how if you're in the sleepless pathway, you need to sleep less.
Learn and master rituals like astromancy, cartomancy, spiritual...
What's cartomancy?
Rituals like astromancy...
Yeah, that makes sense. Tarotmancy. Oh, interesting. That's a real thing?
Spiritual...
He uses those too.
Pendulums and scrying.
Yeah.
All of which...
Scrying is when you look into an orb or something and you see like stuff that's going on in different places, right? Also, if the cam gets blurry, please spam, right?
Which are forms of divination allowing Klein to seek knowledge about the future or the unknown. What is divination? Well, according to Old Neil, it's the outcome of communication with the spirit world. The process of finding answers by putting one's consciousness into a higher dimension. I'll get deeper into...
Yeah, but those concepts are so complicated, like the spirit world. I want to see more.
To the various methods of divination later, but for now just know astromancy is divination via analysis of celestial bodies like stars, planets, and constellations. Cartomancy is divination via playing cards. Spiritual pendulums does so via a weighted object like a crystal, then scrying is the stereotypical fortune teller method of a crystal ball or mirror.
Yeah.
In theory, the type of divination tool doesn't really matter though, since the outcome will always be the same regardless. Now, since this is knowledge Klein needed to learn in order to use, the methods in which that's done is either through experimentation and summarization,
yeah, true,
being bestowed by the gods themselves, or recalled through the dangerous murmurs Klein occasionally hears from time to time.
Prediction? The whispers of Flagrea and Hornakis or Hornatsis comes from Saratul. Murmurs and whispers.
All provide the opportunity to understand what their potion has to offer. It's just some methods are more dangerous than others. Now, the first thing Klein learned after ingesting his potion was how to manage the physical manifestation of it. After mitigating its energy and reducing the seepage of it, Klein was taught what's called cogitation, a meditative state converging the potion's powers inward. It was while in this state that Klein could see and understand the truth, revealing knowledge only he himself could understand. The result was what Old Neil likes to call a mystic experience, a phenomenon only possible while in this state of cogitation. Next, Klein would learn how to use spirit vision, one of the most foundational abilities for pretty much any Beyonder. It was a mystical power that allowed him to...
I wonder, because of him Seer, okay, of course the spirit vision is stronger on him, right? I'm pretty sure that was said. Like, every Beyonder can do spirit vision, it's just Klein is better at it. But cognition, though.
Learn how to use spirit vision, one of the Neil likes to call a mystic only he himself could understand. The result was what old Neil likes to call a mystic experience.
Like, also, like, this cognition is gonna be easier on the Seer pathway, I feel like.
A phenomenon only possible while in this state of cogitation. Next, Klein would learn how to use spirit vision, one of the most foundational abilities for pretty much any Beyonder.
Yep.
It was a mystical power that allowed him to perceive supernatural and non-physical phenomenon, one that needed to be trained in order to get better.
Mm-hmm.
With this, he could see the auras I talked about in a previous video.
Yeah. Yep.
Letting him discern anything from a person's health and emotion, all the way to the spiritual traces of organic material.
So
thing about
useful, by the
spirit
way.
Vision, though, is that just like a muscle, if used too much, it eventually becomes a burden on the soul body. Without proper training, using spirit vision can be incredibly draining and cause both headaches and hallucinations.
Yeah, makes sense. When you get better at it, it's gonna cause it less.
That's why it was so important to build that muscle up.
Yep.
Recovering after was just
Exactly.
a matter of getting rest. Now, a sort of unwanted ability Klein had gained after this was a passive sense allowing him to detect abnormalities or emotions even without activating his spirit vision. It was a trait attributed to his seer sensitivity, this innate perception to the spiritual atmosphere around him. Fast forward to a bit after this, and it was after coming to the understanding acting would allow him to digest his seer potion that Klein would embrace the role by joining a divination club.
Mm-hmm.
His first encounter with them would have him deal with tarot cards, a tool simply used to read what the truth symbolizes. So, it's Klein's interpretations of them that should reveal the answers to the questions he's asking during the ritual. When it comes to probing via more thorough means, one of the risks is communicating with existences not fully known. Reason being that was always a clear path towards madness.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's not present with the divination he learned next, the method we see fairly often known as pendulum dowsing. This is the method that connects the seer's astral projection to the spirit world, allowing him to divine simple truths like good and bad or yes and no type statements.
But I notice sometimes it does not give you an answer at all, and it doesn't necessarily mean no, right?
It's a very practical tool for the most basic of divinations. So,
Pendulum.
first you write a statement onto a piece of paper, hang the spirit pendulum over said paper, then close your eyes and repeat the statement 7 times over. Depending on how the pendulum is moving after, determines what the answer
This
to
is
your
yes.
statement is. Clockwise rotation means good or yes, while counterclockwise indicates bad or no.
Yeah.
No movement simply means it's neither good nor bad.
Ah,
The written
neutral.
statement shouldn't ever be a question, since apparently doing so wouldn't work.
True.
It has to be formatted like this instead of this. Such
This for the... Oh, it makes sense because, you know, it's literally a statement. This food is poisonous. Yes, no. Go.
was one of the rules of divination. Deeper divination practices revolved heavily around symbolism, mainly because answers weren't typically something that could be accurately described by the information one could sense.
Mm-hmm.
More often than not, they appeared as indescribable experiences, direct revelations, or abstract characters.
I think that's Hornakis.
They appeared as indescribable experiences, direct revelations, or abstract characters and symbols, all of which represented different items and different meanings. So, it was only by grasping the ability to interpret these symbols that Klein could really take the next step into the world of mysticism. A good example would be how one might interpret the constellations. It was very possible symbols representing constellations or planets could appear in Klein's divination, so it was important to know what they meant in order to understand them. It mainly came
Are divinations the same? Then it's a different world. The constellation should be different than from Earth, right? Well, it doesn't have to be though. It doesn't said.
came into play when dealing with what's called astrolabe divination.
Astrolabe
That's a tool we
ooh.
rarely see used by Klein.
Ooh.
Just know that Klein can interpret things based on the positions of planets and constellations. For a quick example on how that's done, Say Klein wants to divine something about a specific person. By knowing the date and time of which they were born, Klein could read the star paths of that time to determine their fate.
Ah, I see. Okay.
The method itself was extremely complicated, but with the Seer's innate ability to memorize things easier, holding all this
That's a good passive, by the way. Fuck me. To memorize things, I want that. The thing I want is to get full rest on the sleepless pathway on like 3 or 4 hours. You just get so much time in the day. And also I want better memory as well.
knowledge wasn't difficult at all for him. It was yet another trait that came with the Seer potion.
Yep.
Klein could handle large
Passive.
volumes of information without forgetting it.
Oh my
a clear
god.
indication of his
I'm so
cognitive advancement.
jealous.
So,
Yep.
Klein would train these core Seer powers daily, practicing his spirit vision and dowsing techniques.
Good.
He would go so far as to integrate them into his lifestyle, enabling the potion digestion process to occur faster. Obviously, Seers, being as weak as they were combat-wise though, required some other training in order to
How I see it, right now the Seer pathway, sequence 9, you might be really bad at combat. Literally, right? You having a gun is 10 times stronger, right? But Seer pathway is an investment. The passives are so fucking good, right? And divination and pendulum divination and everything, like it's just so freaking nice. And you scale up, I guess, so hard combat wise, right? So like if you have to choose like a warrior or seer, I will choose seer because even though I only know the first 2 sequences, I can scale up. It's an investment.
offset that.
Yeah.
So, time at the shooting
Martial
range made it
arts,
easier
shooting.
to prepare for practical combat. Now, the first time we see Klein use his powers in a real case comes from his search for Elliot.
Yep.
In a case like this, when a person being divined isn't present, usually a medium tied to them is required in order to facilitate their divination. The method Klein used was known as dowsing rod seeking, functioning fairly similarly to his spirit pendulum dowsing. All he had to do
Yeah.
was wrap his cane with Elliot's amulet, enter cogitation and repeat the statement Elliot's location 7 times over, then
Damn.
let the cane do the rest. The cane would then point in the direction where Elliot was, allowing him to track his target easily. It was during this mission that Klein was shown to be able to perceive through walls with spirit vision, allowing him to detect the
Wait,
person's
not everyone can do that. Ah.
presence even if there was a room between them. He was also shown to ward off the effects of Leonard's Midnight Poet abilities, indicating a strong spiritual perception and extreme familiarity with cogitation. In fact, his increased
But
sensitivity
like Klein is a very strong sequence 9 seer because of the Grey Fog ability as well, right? You can't forget that.
to the supernatural had even allowed him to detect a form of surveillance that shouldn't have been known to him.
Yeah.
In any case, it was
Old
over
Neil.
time that Klein came to understand divination could be split into 3 main categories. The division made by how the revelation of said divination was come to. The first was through the subject's own spirituality, typically housing methods like tarot, pendulums, dowsing rods, and dreams. The second was from the fortune teller themselves, typically involving their own intuition and calculation. The third was from a fully external third party, a supernatural force influencing the revelation through means like a Ouija board or magic mirror. The former 2 were the ones Klein practiced the most, since the third carried a high risk of contacting malicious unknown entities.
Yep.
Yet another one-way street to
Damn.
madness and insanity. It was shortly after that Klein had learned how to use ritual magic, a means of borrowing external help from a higher power of sorts. For him, that's
Asking
typically the
himself,
Evernight
by the way. He was last episode 11. He was asking himself, Chad.
goddess, so we've seen a few times where he needs to request power from her.
Yeah, true.
There was also the instance where he prayed to himself.
I
and
know,
took the
right?
Power to draw a portrait he normally wouldn't have been capable of. The whole thing
He
is
got
actually
shot.
kind of vague right now, so all you gotta know is that ritual magic seeks help and power from someone else.
Oh, and old Neil was seeking how to probably revive his wife, and Hidden Sage started whispering into his ear. Ah, old Neil, man, I feel so bad.
It's always possible
Rip.
to seek that help from an existence not entirely known, but just like everything else, that's sure to lead to madness.
Yeah.
Now, it was during
Yeah,
Klein's
yeah.
meeting with Anna later that we would see him implements spirit numerology, astrolabe, and dream divination. Astrolabe we already covered, but the other two are divinations we haven't yet gotten
Spirit, numerology, dream
to.
divination.
So, in spirit numerology, Klein can map a person's life stages and their yearly luck based on their date of birth and the current year it was.
Ah.
I won't go into the exact calculations, but the variables involved are a person's birthday path number, their birth month path number, and their birth
What's
year
a path number? Am I dumb? What's a path number? Born,
Year it was. Life stages and their yearly luck based on their date of birth and the current year it was. I won't go into the exact calculations,
Wow.
but the variables involved are a person's birthday path number, their birth month path number,
damn.
and their birth year path number.
This is crazy, dude. I wonder if I can do it on myself.
Each
Obviously,
reflecting
you
how a
know.
certain stage in their life is supposed to go. These all gave clues into the situation with Joyce, allowing Klein to see his life was represented by a number reflecting balance and harmony, while his current luck gave a number representing change, an accident, and risk. So, Astrolabe revealed Joyce would survive the accident, while Dream Divination would provide symbolic visions confirming it.
Ah.
When it comes to Dream Divination, there's really not much to explain with regards to how it works. It's pretty much the same as the other methods. The only difference is that it gives revelations via a series of changing images. Now, all these powers aren't really beneficial in combat, a clear point we've seen
Yeah.
time and time again.
Sequence 9 has no combat abilities, right? Like none.
That being the case, as a seer, Klein's powers are more helpful as support over anything else.
Yeah.
Even then, though, his predictions and advice can only go so far, as his path was more predicated on guidance over control. What I mean is that, as true as his revelations may be, there may not always be a time when he can change a person's decision. It's Klein's advancement to Sequence 8 that changes all that, making him far more effective in all things physical. His coordination, balance, agility, and speed
He even felt stronger, right? He even had a complete feeling.
were all improved, a result of greater control over his muscles, his body, and his center of gravity.
Wow.
The most noticeable change was the increase to his coordination, allowing him to easily perform feats like rope walking and acrobatics now.
Yeah, because, you know,
It's an
some clowns literally go on a rope and just... I told you, Seer Pathway is an investment.
Incredibly useful ability that can be applied to a number of situations.
Yeah.
Whether it be climbing walls, backflipping to dodge an attack, or navigating tricky terrain, Klein could handle all of that. I mean, the man can walk
There's
on rope
still
that-
some stuff from Sequence 7 clown, like that guy from the Secret Order, that he doesn't have. He has to read Sequence 7 first, right? Damn, episode 3 though. There were so many abilities that comes with Sequence 7. I can't wait to see them Klein use those.
as easily as he walks on the sidewalk now. So, I really can't express just how much more agile he is. That's not to say his strength wasn't enhanced either, though, as
Yeah.
a small test indicated he was about as powerful as his combat teacher.
Wow.
That being the case, with a bit more specialized training, Klein knew he could leverage all of this to become even stronger. He figured half a year was what it'd take to become decent in combat, while only a few weeks was needed to become adept.
Adapt,
So,
yeah.
where a normal person would usually take years to train in something like this, Klein's ingestion of the clown potion had once again given him intuitive mastery over it. He now had an innate proficiency for all the powers the clown potion had to offer.
I've seen this too.
Such was the difference between a beyond
In when he was in Hugh Eugen's brain.
and a normal person. It's aside
Basically.
from these physical enhancements that Klein would also gain predictive like intuition, an ability he believes lets him perceive short, fleeting glimpses into the future of others' immediate actions.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go so far as to call it straight up foresight though, as his predictions were limited to people's movements and nothing else.
Yeah, true.
It's an acquired skill, likely a product of his already powerful observational and analytical abilities. That and his newfound understanding of movement and coordination. So, where before Klein already had a decent handle on danger precognition, his new understanding of body control works in tandem with that to react to others on instinct. things like attacks directed towards him can now be seen a whole lot easier. Just
Oh,
remember how the clan
yeah.
from episode 3 handled Dunn and the other Beyonders.
Yep.
Now,
You was
unlike
dodging
how
the bullets, by the way. Bullets go super fast. I feel like in episode 3, the clown, we saw what Klein can do when he's sequence 7. Obviously, like, but then Klein is gonna be a stronger one because he also has Grey Fog, and yeah, can't wait for
other
that.
Beyonders would immediately know whether their sequence upgrade came with new spells or not. Klein's inability to sense any meant that his didn't. He did remember the Nighthawk files describe Clown as crafty though, so when he considered for what cases that might be, 2 very beneficial uses came to mind. The first applied to non-combat situations, and that was from his improved control over his expressions and body language. With that assisting in future conversations and negotiations, Klein knew he could lie and mislead people easily now.
Gaslighting
The
unlocked.
second was far more useful for combat, an ability allowing him to turn paper into piercing daggers.
Yep.
With the simple activation of his powers, Klein can turn sheets of paper into weapons as hardened sheets of
Cards
steel.
too, yeah.
It's unclear whether this improvised weaponry can be applied to other objects as well, but for now it seems it's most effective with that.
Yeah.
That being the case, Klein figured it was best to carry a deck of tarot cards with him.
That's so cool.
This
That's
meant he
aura,
could
man.
always have a helpful divination tool on hand or quickly substitute it out for a weapon.
Yeah.
Either way, Klein was now far more capable with both
What's your weapon? Tarot cards. Imagine.
combat and his spirituality. It would certainly take a little bit of practice to become a master of everything, but just like with Seer, I'm sure that'll be no problem for him. Just remember these new powers don't really mean anything when in the face of those who are a higher sequence than him.
Yeah, we
With
saw
most
that. We saw that against Sharon, right? I mean, Tom Smith and Klein pulled it off eventually, but damn.
Beyonders being around sequence 9 or 8 though, this definitely evens the playing field for him.
Are they gonna be our reinforcements? I wonder.
Evens the playing
Backlund
field
is
for him.
sending, or sorry,
So,
the church is sending reinforcements for Dingen's Doomsday, so.
as far as how powerful Klein is now, his role is still more suited for support, what with all the divinations he can perform, but he's also much more capable in a real fight.
Yeah,
At least to the point where he shouldn't have to rely on his revolver all the time.
yeah.
Keep in mind, this doesn't include his charms or the buffs he gets when in the Grey Fog, but that's
Yeah.
going to be a topic for another video. For now, I hope you enjoyed learning more about
Thank
his
you,
Sequence 9
Aninews.
and Sequence 8 abilities. There's definitely plenty more to talk about in the future. But anyway, if you liked what you saw, then leave a like, and if you want to see more, then consider subscribing. Until next time, though.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Did he say ciao? Ciao, my goat. Go like his video, by the way. That was a really good video. I'm really glad he's doing more Lord of Mysteries content. Please go like his video, subscribe to him, and leave a comment because he was struggling with getting views. I'm not sure people are sleeping on it. I guess it's because there's no Japanese dub. People want that. And talking about dub, we are going to watch the dub after episode 13 live on Twitch. We're gonna do it in like 2 sittings, right? We're gonna watch the entire dub, right? But yeah, I mean, the whole video was a great conclusion and great
he
overview
learned
of
fast.
Klein's abilities so far, right? Sorry. Also, what we learned, and we know this for a while, that Seer has 0 combat ability, sequence 9 Seer. And I am actually thinking about if I had to choose, it will be a great investment. Very good investment to choose the Seer pathway, I think. Started off pretty weak, but yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you soon. Episode 13 coming out next week.